welcome to Burlington College Presents again. My name's Nate Taves. I'm again presenting to you, the viewers at large, the next in our series of students that are here to talk about their work. Our only guest for this episode is Ashley Larose. Welcome, Ashley.
Hi, thanks.
Now, you're a photography major, as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, prior to this, we were sitting in the, I'll call it a green room. That's essentially what it is
Yeah.
in stage terms, but green room, waiting for this. And you had said that you do photography, and the majority of your photography has been portraits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I had asked you, I think, about the landscapes and stuff, and you said you don't really do that.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason, or just?
Well, landscapes for me, like, to be honest, like, they're just kind of boring. Not that I don't think, like, landscape photography can't be beautiful. It's just for me to do it personally. Like, it just looks like a snapshot of, like, a tree or a mountain or a cow in a field. So I have more of a connection when I have, like, a person in front of me. So I like to work off of that sort of energy instead of being in nature, I guess you could say.
So rather than being in nature, you're, like, trying to capture somebody's?
Yeah, like, whether it's, like, a physical trait or if I'm trying to get, like, a personality, or sometimes it'll be more of, like a conceptual thing where it's not really about the person, but, like, the concept of the image. It's what I like to try to get in my subjects.
I'd hate to ask this next question, but I will. And this may sound like ego to the viewers, and to you, I'm not sure. But if you were to do a picture of me, which I'm not suggesting, I hate having a picture taken. But if you were, what would you try to capture, if anything, based on what you see right now?
Probably more personality, because that's what I try to go for more than, like, more than anything else. Like, even if it was, like I said, conceptual, I still like to get the person in there. So definitely personality, and I don't know, yeah.
On our last episode, Anthony Green was our guest. You may not have seen that episode yet, or
No.
you may have, I'm not sure. But he and I got into this conversation on his first video. Let me look back at the old notes. Yeah. Caught up in a Mirror 1, I guess it was, on photography and or camera work in general, and how some people, I guess Amish and Native Americans are the two that were specifically named, feel that it kind of takes away a part of your soul, or a part of you dies when your picture is taken. Do you feel any truth in that? Or?
Me, not so literally, but you do definitely take a moment away with you. Like, I don't, yeah.
A moment in some cases that you'll never get back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is freezing a moment in time, whether there's action going on in the frame or not. Like, I never really researched more of what that concept is, of, like, a piece of yourself is, like, taken away, like when somebody takes a picture. It's very interesting, but I do believe that you're freezing a moment in time, and it is yours as well as the subject's But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I never really thought about it
That's
that
funny.
much.
Neither have I. until
Yeah.
just now. And it was stuck in my mind from the last episode because I said I had to go look it up.
Mhm.
And shame on me, I didn't. But I'll get to it eventually. Just gotta get through my other shows.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll hear some resolution to that at some point, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But as I asked Anthony, now I know because he's got multiple bodies of work. Yours is mainly photography, as I understand.
Yep.
Now I'm guessing you have more than one DVD of your work or one slideshow of your work.
Well, today I just have one slideshow, but I do have an extensive body of work that
A portfolio,
yeah,
if we will.
portfolio, yeah, that I've been working on for it seems like years now, but yeah.
That was one of the other things she said to me in the, again, we'll call it the green room.
Mhm.
But you'd said that you have been doing photography for about 8 years, give or take,
Yeah.
and that for about 3 to 4 of those, so about half, you've been actually taking it seriously.
Yeah, I started photographing in high school. It was just a course that we could take, and I really liked it. And then I went to my first college, and that second semester I took another black and white course and realized I liked it again, but didn't really, you know. I was originally a drawing and painting major, so that was like my focus was like the drawing and painting. And then
And that segued into,
yeah, I had to actually leave Plattsburgh. It was the first school that I went to, and I actually went home for a little bit and was going to a community college, and again was taking another darkroom course. And I don't know why or how, but it just hit me one day when I was in the darkroom just developing pictures for an assignment that we had to do. I had my friend Danielle, she was the model for me for my project, and I just remember being above the tray and seeing the image, you know, come to life, and it just kind of hit me where I was just like, oh, this is what I want to do. So ever since then, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago by now, so ever since then, photography's been my main focus and like my passion, and just trying to do everything that I can to make it happen.
kind of get through that way. Kind of just get through that way.
Yeah.
Now, I know that this next question is almost unforgivable to ask, so I'll try to be as diplomatic about it as I possibly can.
Okay.
You mentioned back in high school you started dabbling in painting and picture taking.
Mhm.
Can you give us some idea of your age, I guess?
Oh, in high school, I was, what grade was I in? I believe I was a junior, so I was around, I don't know, 15, 16. Is that how old juniors usually
I
are?
believe so.
Yeah.
Well, I was 17 when I graduated.
Yeah, I think I was too. But yeah, I was around 15 or 16. And I had always, like, ever since like a little kid, I was always like drawing and painting. So I thought that's what I was going to be, was like the painter. But it turned out to be the exact opposite.
Something a bit different, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not too much of, I don't think anyway, it's not too much of a step between painting and picture taking photography.
Well, it's funny because I was, when I was painting and drawing, like I was still doing the same stuff though. It was portraits, like that's all I really drew and painted was portraits. So the medium changed, but the subject hasn't, which actually I haven't really thought about all that much until I just said it right now. So
Does that give you any ideas to start branching off, or?
I don't know. It seemed like it's not that, because some people could say like that jump from like drawing and painting to photography, it's like, oh, well, to photograph a person is easier than to paint them or draw them. I mean, given...
Well, I think it depends on kind of the way in which you do it.
Yeah.
If you're doing it in a studio,
Yeah.
and you've got all the lights and stuff that you have to set up, no, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But if you're doing what most people call photography, of just like, oh, look, movie star.
Oh, yeah, like paparazzi, yeah. Oh, God.
How do you feel about the paparazzi versus what you're doing?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, like...
I hate to ask that question.
I'm sure there's paparazzi out there. They're obviously photographers. They've got, $1,000 cameras that they're using, but like they're just, they're awful. They're awful. Like what they do, like I know, and they're probably doing it because they need money. Like,
or they just want more of it.
Yeah, like we all got to do things to pay rent. So I'm sure there's paparazzi out there that have bodies of work separate from trying to send in a picture of Britney Spears to In Touch magazine. So, I mean...
You would hope so, anyway.
Yeah, I would hope that they have, like, a little bit of integrity to, like, actually create something instead of just buying a $3,000 camera so they can get somebody's, like...
Personal
I don't know,
life.
like a nipple slip or something coming out of a limousine, like...
Or an upskirt, as they
Yeah,
call them,
exactly. It's just, that kind of photography is bullshit, personally.
No, I agree. The other ones, have you ever seen these on the newsstands, like Inquirer or
Oh, yeah.
any of those? Yeah, there's one photograph that stuck with me, and it was clearly photoshopped, but it was back in 1998, shortly before Frank Sinatra died. And that's one of the things you come to learn about me, is I love Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack and stuff. But back when he was 82, they had a photograph of him, and it was on a bed. He had like hospital monitors and stuff, the heart monitors and whatnot. And it said Frank Sinatra's Brave Last Days on it. And in the same magazine, it was the Princess Di story, because that had just happened, kind of thing. So it was like one of the last things that we saw of Sinatra before his actual passing in the hospital. But the thing that always scared me was that, like, they seemed to had some sort of way of knowing which way he was going to go. And so I'm wondering, do you think that photographs can ever, like, be a predictory thing, or?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm sure they can be. I can't really think of a specific example. But yeah, I'm not really sure.
You'll notice I'll
I
stop
would,
you occasionally.
I would have to sit on that one a little bit longer. That's
But it
an
hatches.
interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Well, how about we let you sit on that while we take a look at some of your photographs.
Okay. That was like my Marie Antoinette-esque shoot. A lot of people asked me if I was assigned to, because it was very editorial looking, and it actually, I saved up a bunch of money, and I set up 2 models, a makeup artist. I was actually able to shoot at the Willard Street Inn in one of their rooms. The owners were nice enough to let me use a room for a couple of hours. And I did. I just saved up for the dresses, the wigs, the shoes, and everything, and we just photographed for 4 hours.
Now, having to go through a production myself, which this is going to appear out of sequence, I think, but it's December 6th, is another show that I'm doing, but for this, I think this is going to be airing after that, but so it's out of context. But having to go through that, I know that it's quite costly to try to do a live show plus get it taped and whatnot, because you have to buy the tapes, that whole thing. Can you ballpark a figure as to what that might have?
Oh, that whole thing?
Yeah. Because I can't imagine the wigs were cheap.
Oh my God. Well, actually, they weren't that bad. I got them for like $40 off of Amazon.com.
40.
Yeah, I was.
That must have been right after the movie came out, huh?
Yeah, well, no, this was actually, the movie was out for a little bit, for a couple years, and then I saw.
So this must have been fairly recent.
Yeah, it was very recent. And my mom, she actually helped me pay for a couple of the things. Like, I think she bought a pair of shoes and a dress, and I bought a pair of shoes and a dress, and then she would buy like the fans and the stockings and stuff. So I have a lot to thank my mom for helping me.
Would you like to go into the camera and say thank you? Or?
Thanks, Mom. Yeah.
And we'll make sure that your mom sees that.
Okay.
Somehow, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we will make it happen.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way. If we don't, we'll think of something else.
Yeah. But yeah, it actually, it was maybe in the total $200-ish, a little bit more, a little bit more. I can't really remember, and that's really not all that much.
We're going to go back to the pictures in just a minute, but
Okay.
I have one quick question for you as to your other wigs. You said that while we were looking at those, you said that you used black wigs for some of your self-portraits, which we see sprinkled in there. So if they're looking very carefully, they can
Yeah.
see them. Okay, so that was, did you enjoy doing that, or not really? Or?
Which one? The self-portraits or
Yeah,
the
self-portraits.
Oh, the self-portraits. Oh, they're fun. I mean,
To an extent.
pardon?
To an extent.
Yeah, to an extent. It's just, like I was saying before when we were looking at them, like the self-portraits are a pain to do. Like, you've got to set your camera up on a tripod, and then you have to make sure that, like, the camera is actually focusing on you, because you're using an automatic focus, obviously. Well, at least I do. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. And I don't have a cable release, so I have to get behind the camera, estimate where I'm going to be, focus, and then just, it's
Run
kind
back.
of it's like trial and error. And I'm sure there's easier ways to do it. I just don't know those ways yet. Yeah.
We'll take a look at your other photos. So you enjoy photography, clearly, and by the sound of it, it's almost like a release for you in a way. Is that?
It is, and it isn't. Like sometimes, sadly, it's kind of an obsession where, like, it's like one of those weird, like, you know, the
Can't be
artist.
any worse than going to bed with Sinatra song stuck in your head.
Yeah, but that's what it's like sometimes. Like I won't be able to. It's like the cliche, like the artist gets obsessed with their work and they suffer for it, or that.
Suffering for art. So to speak.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just. I mean, I'm not really suffering, but sometimes I think a little too much about things that I could do and stuff that I want to do, and like. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to sleep at night because I'll come up with an idea and I'll just keep thinking of it and thinking of a way I can make it happen and think of a way to like make the money to make it happen. And
Do you ever have like a little thing by your bed where you just jot down any ideas?
no, because I usually I'll either remember them or like a lot of my shoots, other than like the Willard Street Inn one with the big wigs and everything, that was obviously like very planned out. Like most of the time, I just will have a vague concept of what I want, but then some of the ideas just get thrown out the door because what I have in front of me I feel is a better idea.
And somehow you come up with.
Yeah, like everything is very sort of on the fly. Like there's some pictures that were in the slideshow of the girls with the yellow shirts, and I had originally had the idea of them to stand underneath this huge sunflower that I saw in somebody's yard, and it was leaning down, so it would be right above their heads, and I was going to have them wear the yellow to match with the sunflower. And I did that, but they didn't come out as great. And then...
Oh, that would give their skin a yellow tint, wouldn't it?
Pardon?
That would give their skin a yellow tint, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily, if you know how to, like, color correct. I mean, it wasn't like the color of the flower was, like, reflecting in their face. It was, like, kind of behind their head, like right here.
Kind of like a halo-esque.
Yeah, and, but I took those shots, and I was like, eh. So I had them there, so we just ran down the street to like a local corner store, and I just had them stand in front of a white wall, and those are the shots that are in the slideshow because I think they turned out much better. And there's like a hint of a yellow border that's like there's the wall, and then there's a yellow border on the ground that matches the color of their shirts. And I don't know, it's more of like what I'm feeling at the moment, instead of like writing down ideas, because those usually don't come out as well.
It's funny you say those don't come out as well. And I guess this is probably something that if we could ever get Alan Nichols on the show, it'd be great to ask him. But Robert Altman did a movie called Three Women. And in that movie, he has this kind of free-flowing story, for lack of a better word, or wording, I should say. And it all came from, I guess, a dream or a series of dreams that he had. It's unclear which, depending on your source. But he, I guess, dreamt the whole movie, and then, according to some people, didn't have the ending written or whatever, and left it kind of abstract. But it got great critical reviews, and he liked it. For some reason, I think I missed the boat on that one. But to each their own. Do you ever get like reviews on your?
I mean, I haven't really yet. Like I've been in a couple gallery showings. I've got stuff hanging at the firehouse right now.
The one that is on fire currently, right?
Yeah, or yeah. Thank God. But yeah, I've never gotten like this is the artist that we're reviewing sort of thing. Like I've never really gotten that yet.
Yet.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Well, this is the first time
someday.
for everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, But yeah, I mean, I've had a couple gallery showings. There's the one at the Firehouse Gallery now. My first gallery was actually like dumb luck. I entered into a juried competition for a show called Indwelling, Living in a Female Body, down in New York City, and
I wouldn't know anything about that.
and the juror is actually a wildly famous photographer. Her name's Joyce Tennyson. She's done a lot of work. And I got into the show. So my first show was one picture among, I forget how many other, a couple hundred other artists.
Even so.
Yeah, like one picture. Like it was amazing in this show in New York City. And then I've had like small little stuff here and there for other shows.
Have you ever considered, I know that this leads into somebody else on a different show, but there's a thing called a recon soiree, and there's also an art gallery in which things are hung at Burlington College.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever considered approaching Peter Curtis or whoever?
Oh, yeah.
about that?
Actually, Peter talked to me not that long ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, that there's, an opening slot, and if I'd be interested in hanging pictures, and I totally said yes, so I would...
You said yes, totally. You
yeah,
said
no,
yes.
I was like, yeah, definitely. Like, the whole, I mean, one, exposure is good, and two, it's just exciting to, like, have, like, the whole gallery, like, your work showing and letting other people look at it, interpret it the way they would interpret it, and kind of, like, standing back and, like, watching the people look at your stuff and maybe hearing what they're saying about it. It's a fun process.
There might be a joke in here somewhere, but I would think that overexposure for photography wouldn't always be good.
Well, I mean, if you're showing the same stuff every time, then it's kind of like, okay.
So that's, I guess, going to do it for this episode of Burlington College Presents. We got a couple of people to thank before I forget. First, we'll start with Ashley Larose. So thank you very much for coming. And you'll come back and do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Or this again, I should say. Okay, and thank you to RETN for allowing us to present students to the public at large. And this, again, has been Burlington College Presents. I'm Nick Taves. Until next time, and that's real. So long.